Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the full review for the Samsung Galaxy E7. And this is a mid-range phablet by Samsung, and I have been testing this device for almost 2 odd weeks. And if you've been following my channel, this device is very similar to the Galaxy E5. The main difference is that this puts a slightly larger screen. That's a 5.5 inch, and also as it has a larger screen, Samsung has provided some additional multi-window functions. And again, I would say it's a pretty sleek device. Let me actually first give you a physical overview. And on the top, we just have a secondary noise cancellation microphone. On this end, we have the power button, and it's actually pretty tactile. And we have 2 slots over here. The first one is for your primary nano SIM, and the second slot can be used for the second nano SIM or the micro SD card. So you got to decide between the SD card and the second nano SIM. So this, as you can see, it's a DOS device, but again, you got to make that compromise. And moving towards the bottom, we have the main microphone, 3.5mm headphone jack, micro USB slot that will be used for charging and syncing. And on this end, we just have the volume rocker. And the volume rocker and power button are pretty tactile, so they give a very good feel. We have the 5.5 inch screen, and we also have a front facing camera, which is a 5 megapixel shooter. But one thing is that we don't have any LED notification light on this device. Fortunately, we have this multitasking tray over here, home button and the back button, which are actually backlit. Moving towards the rear facing camera, it's a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. And we also have the speaker over here, which is actually pretty decent. The highlighting factor is the screen, and this is a 720p HD screen, and it comes to a PPI of 267, and I would say the screen quality is actually very good. But one annoying thing is that if you go towards the brightness, you'll see that Samsung hasn't provided any auto brightness sensor on this device, which I feel is really silly. We do have this outdoor mode, and I did test this device in direct sunlight, and if you keep it on the outdoor mode, it's easily visible even in direct sunlight. So that way, it's actually pretty decent for an AMOLED screen. But again, for brightness, you have to use this and adjust it. And you'll notice that we have quick toggles over here. You can just click here and access all the other options. And we do get a lot of options like ultra power saving mode. We also have multi-window and even the side key panel. So yes, Samsung has provided a lot of options, and even you can use the gloves with it because it has that touch sensitivity option. So in terms of options provided, Samsung has provided us a lot of options. And as you can see, we even have the side key. So you can easily use this even if you have small hands. So it's easy to use it, and you can move this around if you want. Let me just remove that side key. And we also have the multi-window support. I'll show you that a bit later. But before that, let me actually show you the Android version that comes with this device. And if you go to about the device, as you can see, it's running on the Android version 4.4.4, which is KitKat. I'm not very sure if this device will get Lollipop, but it should get it because this is a fairly new device. And regarding internal storage, here also you shouldn't have a problem because this comes with 16 gigs of internal storage. And as I told you, you can also add a micro SD card. So in terms of storage, you shouldn't have a problem. Now let's talk about what's powering this device. This device is powered by the Snapdragon 410 chipset, which is a quad-core processor clocked at 1.2 GHz. The GPU is the Adreno 306. It comes with 2 gigs of RAM, 16 GB of internal storage. The rear-facing camera is a 13 megapixel shooter, and the front-facing camera is a 5 megapixel shooter. Moving towards the battery is sealed inside, which is a 2950 milliamp hour battery. And I would say I did all my testing with just a single SIM, and I have to say the battery life that I was getting on this device is pretty good. So it should easily last for a full working day without any issues. And we also have widgets, etc., as you can see. And overall, I would say in terms of performance also, it handled this TouchWiz actually pretty well. And I did not notice lagginess, etc. And as you can see, I have quite a few apps and they work pretty well. And as it has that 2 gigs of RAM, it really helps. And let's actually now fire up the web browser. We have 2 web browsers, the Google Chrome and the default one. Let's fire up Chrome. I was using it earlier also. And we are going to the Verge, which is actually a pretty heavy website. And as you can see, it's still able to handle it. So in terms of web browsing, I noticed that it is pretty good. Another thing that I really liked is the screen quality. The screen quality is actually really nice, and even the viewing angles are really nice. Let's also try to go to one more site. And this is the default keyboard that we get. Let's go to oops. And let's go to the full version, and again, as you can see, it loads it pretty quickly. And also the touch sensitivity is also really good, so pinch to zoom etc work pretty well. It's not sticky like on some other devices. Also, when we talk about multi-touch points, here also we have full 10 touch multi-touch points, so that's good to see. As you can see, so touch sensitivity is actually pretty good on this device. One thing I have noticed is that, let me just go here anywhere, I have to click the home button exactly at center to register it. If I just click it on the side like this, I'm clicking, as you can see, or on this side, it does not work. And this hasn't happened to me on any other Samsung device. So I have noticed that I have to exactly click here on the center to register the home click. I'm not sure if it's a defect with this unit, but this is what I have noticed. Now, if we talk about the cellular call quality, I'm happy to say that the cellular call quality was also very nice with this device. And let me actually show you the speakerphone performance. Let's just dial this number and let's put it on speaker.
Airtel, the smartphone network welcomes you to one-to-one care. Our menu options have been changed.
And as you can see, it's actually pretty loud, and even the cellular reception was very nice on this device. So in terms of cellular call quality, it was actually pretty good. And as I told you, for the most part, it handles this UI also pretty well. And as it's running the new TouchWiz, you have themes support. If you just go here, you can change the themes, and that changes the entire look of the device. Even the icons change. So that is there, but again, you are limited to these themes. Now let's talk about the multi-window feature. It has multi-window support. For example, let's open this. Let's say we are browsing and I want to access one more app. You can just press this back button for a while and you get this. And from here, you can launch these apps. For example, let's just fire up, let's say the CPU that I can just take it and drag it and leave it. And now we can run these two apps at the same time. We can resize them if you want, and it handles it without any issues. Another thing I have noticed is that if you click here, you do get further options. For example, you can also just minimize this, and this just floats over here. As you can see, the Chrome web browser is now floating, and whenever I just want to come back to it, I can just tap on it and I get back to it. And this also works very well. I saw this feature first on the Note 4, and I'm happy to see that Samsung is implementing this even on mid-range devices. So that works actually very well. So multi-window support is actually really nice, and it works perfectly on this device. Now let's move to the camera. The rear facing camera is a 13 megapixel shooter, whereas the front facing camera is a 5 megapixel shooter. Again, the interface is very similar to most other Samsung devices. As you can see, you can just use the tap to focus to quickly focus, and then hit this to take the picture. And I've taken a lot of pictures with this device, so let me show you the same. And as you can see, the pictures actually in natural lighting come out to be really good, and the detail is also really nice. Also, in terms of color accuracy, the color accuracy was actually very good. So I'm very happy with the rear facing camera outdoor. Even when we move to indoor lighting conditions, as you can see, it does perform actually pretty good. Also, when I took some pictures in completely artificial lighting in my office, it did perform pretty well. But yes, there is a little bit of noise, and you got to be a little bit careful. Otherwise, the pictures can come out to be a little bit shaky. But overall, I would say the camera performance was very good. Coming to video, it can shoot video in 1080p, and this is a sample video clip that I shot in 1080p. And as you can see, the video quality is very good. Also, when we move to the front-facing camera, the front-facing camera can also shoot video in 1080p, and even the quality with the front-facing camera was really nice. So overall, I would say in terms of the camera department, this device is certainly better compared to the Galaxy E5. And I would say, considering the price point of around 19,000 or so, I would say the camera performance on this device is actually pretty good. Now, if we move towards gaming, I did play a lot of games with this device. For example, Dead Trigger, Asphalt 8, and even Modern Combat 5. And it could play all of these games without any issues. Also, it did not exhibit any major heating when I played those games. So also in terms of gaming, the performance was pretty good. So what do I feel about this Samsung Galaxy E7? I would say it's a pretty decent device if you're looking for a mid-range phablet from Samsung. But let's break it down between the pros and cons. Let's first talk about the cons of this device. Again, the dual SIM implementation is a little bit weird. You got to decide between the SD card and the second SIM. So you got to be aware of that. Also, as I mentioned on this unit, the home button, I have to actually click exactly on the center. If you just click here on the side, it's not registering. But as I mentioned, this might be just on this particular unit, but I thought that you guys need to know about that. Also, we do not have any USB OTG support or even a LED notification light. And it's really silly that we don't even have a auto brightness sensor on this device. So these were the cons of this device. Let's now move to the pros of this device. I would say the camera performance is actually pretty good. Also, when it comes to the battery life was also pretty good, and it could easily last for a full working day. Also, when it comes to the screen quality is really good, and this AMOLED panel is actually pretty bright even in outdoor lighting conditions. Also, when we talk about the performance, the overall performance of this device was actually pretty decent thanks to that 2 gigs of RAM. Also, it's nice to see that Samsung has implemented a multi-window functions on this device. So overall, I would say it's a pretty decent device from Samsung considering the price point at which it sells. That is around 19,000 in India. And I would say if you're looking for a mid-range phablet from Samsung, you can certainly have a look at this Samsung Galaxy E7. I've also posted several other videos on this Galaxy E7 like its gaming review, so you can check out that for more info. I hope that you found this video review helpful. If you found it helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.